Greetings again, fellow conscious agents. Welcome back for another episode of Macrocosmic Reverberance. In this episode, we shall be discussing a rare ancient text that contains profound truths and principles explaining the nature of our universe. It is believed that the content within this ancient writing of universal doctrines only finds its way into the lives of individuals who are truly ready to be gifted with this secret knowledge. This text is known as the Kybalion. The Kybalion is responsible for my personal growth in understanding the universe's ways. I accredit it for being responsible in helping me become a better version of myself. I still am learning and applying the principles I had learned from the Kybalion in my life today. It is said that the Kybalion was written from the words of an entity known as Hermes Trismegistus. Trismegistus is widely recognized as the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek god Hermes, both figures representing divine knowledge in both cultures. Thousands of years ago, it was said that Trismegistus had bestowed humanity with this profound knowledge, and it is a gift to be able to comprehend these sacred laws. Hermeticists, or followers of Hermes Trismegistus the Great, believe that a single true theology exists within all religions. These truths were given to humanity by what we call God in antiquity, from an omonistic standpoint. Hermes Trismegistus states that there are 7 principles that rule the universe, and that these truths can be discovered within all theologies. Trismegistus explains the foundational laws of our reality in his 7 Hermetic principles. We will now explain each of these principles and delve deeper into what they mean and what they represent. Principle number 1, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. This demonstrates the true nature of energy, power, and matter. With this key, the Hermetic student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge, and enter them freely and intelligently. Mentalism, also known as the principle of spiritualism, refers to the idea that all is mind. The universe is spirit, and the embodiment of all is mind. This means everything in the world is born from the mind. The universe also exists by spiritual energy and embodies the mind as the source of birth. The mind forms the configuration of matter, the state of motion of matter, transforms and develops matter to create life. So the mind of a life source, or one's mind, is key that creates one's world. In other words, the way you think is the way you create your life. Things will form faster when you have the power of mind concentration and control of your mind. The human mind is but a fractal of the unknowable mind of all. But our limited creative powers, which begin in our mind, are an accurate enough reflection of the infinite creative power they proceed from, which is the one mind of all, universal consciousness. Where our petty mortal minds are limited by our individual understanding, the mind of all is all understanding, and so is not limited by the universal laws, except when it wills to manifest on lower planes of existence, governed by lower laws. However, the all is ultimately above all law, as it is from where all law proceeds. The second great Hermetic principle is known as the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. And as without, so within. This principle teaches us a functional truth. There is always correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of existence. Energy, light, vibration, and motion all have their corresponding principles. Everything on the physical plane has a corresponding principle out there in the universe. Think of how the shape of a swirling hurricane is akin to the shape of a spiral galaxy, or the comparison of the computerized images we have procured of the human neural network and the very images of the fabric of our universe. When placed aside one another, there are obvious congruencies depicted within both images. Another example of this includes how the shape of atoms and subatomic particles mimic the orbit of planets moving around a solar system. These are merely a few examples of aspects within nature that mirror each other. Everything has a corresponding element to it. That which is below is that which is above. The macrocosm and microcosm are reflections of each other. The universe is holographic and self-similar on all scales. The third Hermetic principle is known as the principle of vibration. This specific principle is an extremely powerful one, as it penetrates and permeates almost all aspects of the other principles and everything that exists. Everything is in motion. Everything vibrates. Nothing is at rest. The principle of vibration embodies the idea that motion is manifest in everything in the universe. This principle shows that everything moves, and in science it can be proved that everything vibrates at different frequencies and wavelengths. This principle states that everything, beginning from the largest types of matter down to the tiniest microscopic particles, in fact, vibrate at different rates and degrees of vibration. Every atom and molecule is vibrating at a certain motion, frequency, and speed. The combination of this energy determines the physical form of all and any objects. Even something that seems to be still, for example, a rock or a chair, is actually in a state of motion, although subtle upon the eyes. A rock's electrons are still moving around, and there is even space within the atoms that comprise the rock. Nothing is at rest. Vibration helps things on the same level of vibration to become in tune with each other, to understand and perceive each other. This means that everything is adept to change. The principle explains the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit, all resulting from varying states of vibration. I had mentioned something very similar to this in our first issue of this podcast, where all matter stems from the source known as the unified field, in which strings and particles vibrate at different frequencies to represent different forms of physicality. From the all, or pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter, is all in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher position in the scale of spirituality. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest. Just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless to the eye. At the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so slow as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration. From subatomic to electron, from atom to molecule, to worlds and universes. It's all in vibratory motion. It is true on all planes of energy and force, which are but varying on degrees of vibration. And also the mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, even on spiritual planes. An understanding of this principle with appropriate formulas, Hermetic students are enabled to control their own mental vibrations as well as manipulate the vibrations of those around them. In a social setting, it is very easy to notice how individuals of high vibration, or in other words, people who are positive and fast-moving in nature, and how they never seem to be able to get along with people of slower vibration, people who are negative, people who don't carry a degree of positivity with them. And that is a mere example of how vibration can be applied to situations we find ourselves in within this current society. And that concludes this episode of Macrocosmic Reverberance. In our next episode, we will delve into the remaining 4 Hermetic principles. As always, it has been a pleasure, and thank you for joining me. Ad Astra, to the stars.